So this idea actually came to me during my long run on Saturday. I had a load of different ideas, and one of them was this topic I'm going to talk about now, which I talked about in my Coach On newsletter yesterday. And the reason I'm talking about it now as well as the newsletter, because I think it's going to be very important for everyone in the weeks and months ahead. And I had a kind of a clickbaity subject line on it, was like, my mistakes, something like my mistakes from a stag party will help you in the weeks and months ahead. I was like, it was very clickbaity, but at the same time it was true. And obviously I wasn't one of those tell-all stories or anything like that, or any real juicy gossip in it. And I went back at the end of the start of February, and I know it was the start of February because it was the weekend of the 49ers and the Superbowl. I was supposed to be 2 nights of the stag. I only did one night because the second night I had to go back down to Wicklow, had to watch the Super Bowl with my dad and a couple of beers, and I was about to say enjoy it, but I was enjoying it right up to the last 7 minutes of the game. We were up 20-10, and it really hurts to talk about it, so I'm not going to talk about it anymore from there. But we went paintballing the Saturday, and I was looking around the lads and talking about how they're getting on and catch up with people I just hadn't seen in the last 2, 3, 4 years in some cases, if not longer. And I was like, I'm going to do really well in this. I'd never done paintballing before, but I was getting really competitive and I wanted to win. Who doesn't? And I was like, my fitness is going to help me out here, because we'd started the Any Given Runday podcast 5 weeks before that, and I was building up towards the marathon in Madrid, and I knew my fitness was well. I was back under sub 50 for a 10k, and I was in good shape. I just ran a sub 50 10k earlier that week, so I knew I was going to do really well in terms of running around the place, and I was just going to be like a maniac here and just like Rambo. I thought I was going to be great at it. Long story short, what happened was I absolutely sucked. We had the first event was like this big field, and one team was over on one side, and then like 100 yards down was another team. There was like these kind of prop buildings and burnt out cars and stuff in the middle. I remember when I started, I ran 3/4 pace, 20 yards max. No, not even 20 yards, maybe around 20 yards or so. Actually, 100 yards isn't that long. It was around 100 meters, I should say. It was more than the size of a football pitch away from each other to start off with. So I ran around 20 yards towards this burnt out car. The reason that's important was it wasn't that much of a distance, and I was like, that was kind of tough. What the hell? Like, I'm after doing sub 10k, and I wasn't sprinting to it, so it wasn't the fact that I used all my energy running towards this car. And I crouched down behind, and I'm like, ooh, I don't feel good. And then I ran towards the prop building. Of course, my own teammates didn't know what was going on, so they ended up shooting me. And I'm like, what are you doing? That hurt, 1. And 2, as I got behind the building, I'm like, I'm actually out of breath here. What's going on here? And I remember seeing another car around 30, 40 yards down in front of me, and I knew the other team was getting closer towards us, and I was like, I don't even care if I got shot at this stage. The will to win was completely gone. I was so tired already. I was like, see what happens. So I ran towards it, crouched down, got shot 4 or 5 times, put the hand up, and I was like, yeah, I'm out of the game. I've definitely gotten shot. Came back, and that's when I got to take the mask off and just get a bit of fresh air. And I'm like, I am completely out of shape, but I'm not out of shape. What's going on? And what was happening was I was using the mask. Obviously, I had to use the mask because you don't have the mask and the face protection on you. You get shot there, it's going to lead to all sorts of trouble. So you have to have that protective gear on you. But because of the protective gear, I couldn't run for shit for the entire thing, and it was really annoying because like, well, there's my one advantage of being fit right out the window, and I completely suck at paintballing. I hate saying that, but I do. And the point behind it was, because of the mask, I'm very CO2 intolerant. And I was listening to a podcast by Joe DeFranco this past week talking about this, and talking about how, with COVID-19 and everything going on right now, a lot of us may have to wear masks in public going forward. Now, I'm not saying you should or shouldn't wear masks and all that other stuff there, or getting into anything political. Somehow coronavirus is now a political thing, especially in the States. So I'm not getting into that, but if you are wearing a mask, it's going to be much harder to breathe now. And Joe DeFranco was talking about, he was getting all this from Brian McKenzie, who I heard both of these names I'd actually heard for one of the first times through Tim Ferriss's book, The 4 Hour Body. It's mad how you watch and listen to certain people, and it just comes full circle with the different influences you listen, like, oh yeah, they're getting this from this, and it just comes once smaller net. But getting back to the point, Brian McKenzie was talking about breathing and how a lot of us, the majority of us, I think he said, are CO2 intolerant. And what's happening is when we have a mask on, it's trapping that CO2, it's trapping that carbon dioxide. So we find it harder to breathe. We might get lightheaded, headaches, all different things can come from it. And if we're going out in public now wearing masks and stuff, it's going to be very hard to work, especially if you're not especially if your fitness levels are low. And I didn't think mine were at the time, but I really struggled with my breathing. I still struggle with my breathing now. Like I did a 5k today, and the last kilometer I was struggling through, and I feel myself chest breathing. I don't breathe properly, and it's something I've known for years I need to work on. But if we're going to have to wear masks in public from now on, I'm definitely going to have to work on this a lot more. And he was saying some different breathing techniques to help ourselves overcome that CO2 intolerance. One of them I've mentioned a few times in this podcast before is that at the end of a workout, just lying down your back, feet up, taking a big deep breath in for 2 to 3 seconds, hold for 2 to 3 seconds, breathing out for 2 to 3 seconds, hold, and repeat that 8 to 10 times. And that helps get your heart rate down, starts the recovery level, and also helps with your breathing. The main thing to do it is not just taking normal breaths 2-3 seconds, or trying to take full breaths, full I messed up that word. I'm gonna leave this. I'm not even gonna edit that part out. I can't think of the goddamn name for it. But anyway, it's basically you're not breathing just through your chest. Your whole diaphragm's getting involved. You're breathing through your stomach. Your I can't think of that. Not circumcision. It's gone. Anyway, basically it's 360. 360 degrees, your whole body just kind of expands as you breathe in, especially through your stomach, your sides. Breathe in, nice big deep breath for holding it, and slowly release until all your breath comes out of your body. And it's doing that 8 to 10 times. And another technique they were talking about was nasal only breathing. So if you're doing your walks, especially the morning walks and stuff, it's just taking a big deep breath through the nose, hold for 2 to 3 seconds, and slowly breathe out until all the air is out of your body. And then trying to hold your breath there for as long as you can. And then once you can't hold it any longer, then you're not going towards your face going blue and all the rest. It's just once you have that need that you have to start breathing again, taking that big deep breath in. And Joe DeFranco was talking about how doing this in sets like a reverse ladder really works. So if you did it the first time, you take a big deep breath in through your nose, slowly breathe out, and keep breathing out until there's no air in your body, and then hold that for as long as you can. Once you have to breathe again, breathe in and out through the nose only, going for 10 reps. And on the 10th one, hold, slowly breathe out, and then hold your breath with no oxygen in your body, I suppose, until you have to go again. Then do it for 9 reps, 8, 7, because when you do it the first time, you're going to need a couple of breaths to get right back to it. Because if you just went straight to breathe in, try to breathe out, you're not going to last nowhere near as long. So you need to just get the breaths back going again. But if you do it 10 reps, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, and then stop at 4, because the last 3, 2, 1, you're just not going to get enough breath in. It's just not going to be effective. So doing that while you walk is going to help you that when you eventually have to start wearing masks out in public, if we have to wear masks out in public, and even if not, it's going to help you with your cardio anyway. So it's not a bad thing to do, to get out, get some fresh air, try this nasal breathing, and seeing how it goes. And that's pretty much, I somehow talked about stag parties to morning walks and deep breathing through the nose, but I got a couple of emails after that going, geez, that was a bit of a bait and switch there, Sean, but it was very interesting read, and I thought it was. So it's something that I need to work on, especially when it comes to my running, and if we're going to be in public wearing masks. And once again, I don't know if we are. I don't know for sure the science and how much it works in terms of protecting us and protecting others around us. If we have it, that's not for me to say. I'm not a scientist. It's just not my field, so I have no say in it, and I don't think my voice in that department is anyway important. And if you're listening to me for COVID-19 updates, you need to reassess everything from there. So I'm going to wrap up the podcast with this. We started our 5k challenge today with the Any Given Runday Run Club, because last Tuesday the Dublin City Marathon got cancelled for 2020, and I find it's very hard to go out and get some runs in if you don't have an end goal in mind. So we decided to create our own end goals in the running group, and to do that we've set a 5k PB challenge. So whether you've never ran before or you're pretty efficient at running, the 5k challenge is there for you for the end of June. It's set a date and go, you know what, for the next 5 weeks I'm going to dedicate my running to improve my 5k time, and we're hoping then to build towards a 10k time, and then further on throughout the summer as we get close to what would be the Dublin City Marathon at the end of October. But we're going to take a 5 weeks at a time, 5k challenge. If you want to get involved, I'm going to have a link in the description, and just click it. You'll be sent into the Facebook group, and from there, just scroll through a couple of posts. You'll see we did a quick ebook on it for different sample plans for training towards whatever your 5k goal is. We also did like intervals, so we do like a hashtag 5k Monday, which I've talked about in the opening to this podcast, where I'm using hills and stuff to help push myself on towards doing a 5k PB in 5 weeks time. We do interval Wednesday, and I have on the ebook all the different splits for if you want to do a 400 meter, 800 meter, or 1k interval split, what your goal target should be. So if your goal target is 23.5 minutes, for example, you'll see the split for 400 meters beside that, what you should aim for in your training sessions, the 800 meter split and the 1k split, and then the long run weekend being just 30% of that mileage you do that week, each week adding 10%. So it's all adding 10% mileage onto your overall running distance you're doing throughout a week, so that way you're not doing too much too fast, and you're building up your endurance leading towards the 5k PB. And we'll see how that goes towards the end of June. So if you're interested in doing that, just click on the link, get involved, and like the Any Given Run Day Instagram page as well. I know I'm blending the two, the Coach Sean and the Any Given Run Day right now, but it's keeping me on track going out and doing runs on especially on days I don't want to get out and do a run. It's helping me keep on track to do those runs, so hopefully it'll help you guys as well. There's a lot of people in that group. They talk about the runs, they talk about the experience doing the runs as well, which has helped me. I've changed some of my philosophy on running based on my experiences and their experiences and trying different things throughout that. And I think because of that group, I've become a better runner. So if you're interested in doing that, onto the group. I've waffled way too much on it, so I'm going to wrap up the podcast here. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Coach Sean's Fitness Podcast. Maybe there might be another episode this week, who knows. Trying to get better at doing these things, and that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you for listening. Hopefully see you on the inside of the Any Given Runday Run Club. Take care. Now that wasn't a hard video to get through now, was it? I hope you guys got some value out of the video. If you did, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the Coach Sean's channel, which is somewhere here. And hit that button, subscribe to the Coach Sean channel, leave a thumbs up. There should be a couple of other videos around here for you guys to check out. And that's all from me, from Coach Sean. Take care.